Welcome to the More You Look podcast. Welcome to the More You Look podcast.
Bayo, the question I have for you today is, what's the point? What is the point? I mean, if you look back 10, 15 years ago when, I've been in this country for 20 years plus now. When we were relocating, we had genuine reasons, You say, one, we want better educations for when we start having children, good health care, we wanted access to good roads, we wanted to have less crime, less, violence around us. Things that basically we were used to back home, You have to have I feel that people have to have specific reasons for relocating, because the truth is relocating is not an easy thing to do. Uprooting everything you have
and starting
all over afresh. So people are doing this thing in their 40s, I really commend them. It's not easy at all. So I feel you definitely must have specific reasons for making that move, pulling that trigger. Pardon the pun. Because if you look around you nowadays, I will use UK as an example because this is where we live. We hear of similar stories everywhere on social media. Thank God for TikTok and all the other stuff now. And I just feel that, take education. If you look at education in the UK right now, it's gone to the dogs. To the point where the government itself is now throwing up the door, throwing open the gates, looking for foreigners to come work as teachers. Because even the British people themselves do not want to teach because the pay is rubbish. They don't get protected in any way. These kids are becoming more and more feral, and that is as an extension of parents not being able to parent properly. They spend 80% of their time working God knows how many jobs to keep a roof over the children's head and stuff like that. So it's just a broad, crazy cycle of I won't say incompetence, of just chaos. The way I look at it. If you take healthcare, that is even the worst.
I'm sure you can tell.
No, seriously.
You can tell me.
The NHS is not even. I don't see it that people say, "Oh, the NHS is crippled." It's not crippled. It's not crippled. The NHS is finished.
It's collapsed.
It's totally finished. I don't even see the way out. People are waiting for referrals for upwards of a year and a half. I'm talking about serious referrals that has to do with. If you suspect that you have cancer now, and you rush to your doctor, they give you what is called cancer referral, be it breast, thyroid, whatever. You're meant to have those referrals. They have names for them. Some of them are called 2 weeks breast cancer referral, 2 weeks this, 2 weeks that, and you wait on the waiting list for God knows how long. So if you look at even policing, violence is on the rise.
I'm actually interested in the NHS bit. So is the problem the numbers? So is the NHS short-staffed? Are there fewer doctors than there should be?
Well, that has always been a thing. I've been in the healthcare system for over 11 years now, and what I've seen, I can't really talk much about it because I don't know if it's something that I can get
legally. Yes.
But the truth is, what I've seen generally across the country is services being severely short-staffed, underfunded, no protection.
So does it all go down to politics then?
Yes, 90% of it is down to politics. I think what the government is trying to do is create the American situation, and it's not going to end well. That's the way I see it. It is never going to end well. When I needed to have surgery, I had to go private, and I spent thousands of pounds. If I didn't have that money, I'd probably just be getting that surgery now. Since 2018. Since 2018, I was told I was on a waiting list. I was told specifically that it could take over a year.
Are you saying they haven't actually called you now?
No.
Oh, wow.
The NHS put me on a waiting list then, and I was specifically told, as an insider, that guy, you're looking at a year and a half. I said, man, I cannot sleep, I cannot lay down, I cannot sit, I cannot do anything, I can't stand.
So what if you had gone to accidents and emergency?
So what normally happens is, the way everything is structured now, if you need medical help, you have to go to your GP surgery. Now the GP surgeries are so overwhelmed, understaffed. You have one doctor for probably thousands of patients. You go to some GP surgeries, all you have is just one doctor. So understaffed that to get an appointment, sometimes you call in June, they tell you the next available appointment is probably midweek or August. You see? So then they tell you, if your situation is really urgent, take yourself to A&E. Now, here's the issue. I've been through all these routes, so I know. When I went to A&E as a patient, I waited 14 hours. In absolute...
So you're in pain.
I was crying like
I
was crying like a bitch. Okay? 14 hours I waited. And when I eventually got seen, I then had to wait another 9 hours to be seen for 5 minutes. And the guy immediately knew that, look, this person needs to be admitted. This is not something, It took him all of 5 minutes to decide that. And then I was forwarded to a ward where I had to wait for hours again before they could get opening of bed. I'm telling you that you go into some of these accidents and emergency, you see people lying on the floor with drips going into their arm. I won't say much, but the underbelly of the beast.
So essentially, you leave Lagos.
The underbelly of the beast, bro, is nasty. That's all I can say. I'm not going to dive, I can't delve too much into it because I'm part of the system and it's probably why I don't know. But it's bad. It's bad. And I'll say this, I went through all this process in a hospital that I work at, that I am known. So imagine even if I wasn't known. All that hours and hours I just said is because I was even fast-tracked, apparently.
Just because you're a known quantity.
And then when it eventually came to the point of deciding that you have surgery or stuff, I was told, man, the waiting list is just, there's nothing we can do. And it was at that point I decided that, look, and I said, so what do I do? I mean, unimaginable pain. I cannot stand for more than 5 minutes. I can't sit down for more than 5 minutes. I can't lay down for more than 5 minutes. So what happens?
So they empathize with you. They empathize with you, but they can't do anything.
Yeah, because if you think about it, it's not their fault. That's why I look at people who go to hospitals to throw tantrums, to verbally and physically attack hospital staff. They are just like you. They are going through the same things. They are going through the same things you are going through. Some of them are cancer patients too. Some of them have, the same issues you are going through. Just because they are on the other side of things does not mean that they are the enemy, So it's not their fault. So I can't just, so I just thought, the best thing will be go private. And it was an amazing. It's not until you go through private healthcare in this country that you will understand how bad it has become for NHS. Because while I was there, it was as if I was in a hotel. Not just any hotel.
So there's a world of difference.
Yes, it was as if I was in a 4-star hotel. I'll tell you something that will surprise you. After I had the operation, they took me to a recovery room. And a different room entirely. It was like I was in a hotel suite. And then they asked me, what would you like to eat? And I thought, why would you ask me that? Because you're used to, when you go to hospital just give you what they have, which is terrible food. Terrible looking custard and stuff like that, And I think that's majorly why people go to hospital, get admitted, come back, and they've lost weight, And I was joking with this person. I said, hey, be careful what you ask for. Because, I was still a bit groggy from the anesthetic and everything. I said, look. And she said, no, ask for anything. We have chef. We have in-house chef. And I thought, believe me, I'm an African. If I ask you for something, you would not. She said, ask. And I said, I want jollof rice. And they went to make the jollof rice to the best African
standard.
I was blown away.
Interesting.
And I said, yeah, it's your money.
It's your money, yeah, it's your dime.
It's your money working. It's even. I almost did not want to leave.
Because of the quality of the care.
The care was out of this world. And I'll tell you this, years before that, when my wife was severely ill and we had to admit her to NHS hospital, I was taking bean bags from home to go change the bean in our room.
Wow.
They were that understaffed.
Wow.
The rubbish bin in our room was spilling over. I had to, after I had complained a few times and I would pop in the next day and it would still be there, I started taking bean bags from home to be changing the bin myself in our room. That's how bad it has become. And it's not the fault of any of these people. the hospital staff, all across the country. I'll tell you, people are coming all the way from London, all the way driving for like 4 or 5 hours to my service to come use my service because, and I tell them, wow, we have 10 hours waiting time here. We have 8 hours waiting time. They say, well, compared to where we are coming from, this is luxury.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So, I digress, but it's bad.
Also, I mean, to answer you, to go back to your question and to try and find an answer that works. People are leaving. I mean, it's a case of the grass being potentially greener on the other side. So people leave what they are going through because that's what it is really. I think one of the reasons why I left Lagos when I did, which is eventually, because I didn't want to leave, is because I went to see a friend of mine who is a media person and another media person in the city. So I don't want to mention their names, but another media person in, I think they were off air at the time.
Okay.
And so they were playing music, so we were talking. And he basically said his mom had been ill and she'd been hospitalized in one of the bigger hospitals in Lagos for months, right? So she was being bathed on the bed, so she couldn't get up, so they would turn her, wipe her and stuff. He besides being a radio personality was also an actor, so he was a bit busy, but he made time to go look her up and stuff from time to time. But then I guess he thought at some point, and he told this story by himself, So at some point he spoke to his sister who's here and said, look, since she can come here, and I think she's British, that's his mom, since she can come here and get healthcare, and you are available to watch over her, why doesn't she come over? So they made plans. He put her on a flight. The flight came down. He landed at Heathrow, and what are they called now? The guys in the MTS.
Is it the
paramedics? Yeah. The medics. So good. So they took her off the plane, put her in the ambulance, and the paramedic wanted to set a line, right? Then he must have seen something, so he said, oh, there's a swelling here or whatever. So he punctured the swelling and fluids came out of her side. And long story short is she walked out of the ambulance on her own 2 legs. I mean, she'd been bedridden for 3-4 months in one of the biggest hospitals in Lagos. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I've never been big on moving here, even though, I have the passport. It was never my thing, but I was worried about healthcare, because Eric Arubai, who was, he was in the first West African Idol, the one that Omar Omi won. That had TV.
I think this guy you're talking about the guy that passed away.
Yeah, Eric died. Because he bought medication.
I have a better example for you. And before I go into that, I think the issue we have in Nigeria is lack of proper governing bodies and corruption.
No, I think it's more corruption. So here's the thing. So from what I've been made to understand, all the laws exist, the governing bodies exist, all of those things exist. It's a question of whether they want to do their jobs or not, but they all exist.
Let me give you an example. There's going to be a lot of segues today.
Okay.
If you look at the UK, as bad as we say it is, clinicians all over the country are afraid of the GMC, their governing body. Services everywhere, I won't say afraid, but they don't want to get on the bad side of the CQC. Those are the bodies that come unannounced to check your service. Is it clean enough? Are practices being held to science standards,
to the highest standards, yes,
and stuff like that. And that's what we don't have in Nigeria. And I'll give you an example.
They do exist. It's just and that is why because
they can be easily compromised.
But they exist.
That's the thing. When my mom had breast cancer in Nigeria, and you know, she was going to hospital and everything, and they were doing all this. We were paying through the nose for all this mega tests and all that stuff, and it was just getting worse. No, it wasn't getting worse. The doctors there, so-called specialists in Nigeria, kept telling her that, look, it's fine, this is good, it's fine. But she kept telling me that this pain is getting
Not
worse,
feeling any
and they
better.
kept telling me it's okay. So something just said to me, don't let devil use you now. You work within the healthcare. You have all these people at your fingertips. So I said to her, can you send me every single paperwork, test results, medications and stuff? And she did. And when I got those things, I just went to one of my colleagues, the clinical director of my service, and I just showed everything to him. And he just went red in the face. You know, in I said,
Just based on
he just looked at
documentation.
those things and he said, who read these scans? Who looked at these scans and said it was okay? And he said, this woman needs urgent operation. So I had to fast track everything and bring her here. The day she landed in this country was the next day. I just took her to my hospital. The next day was when she got operated on. And they were telling me that if they had not done that, it would have spread. So that part, and it would be too late at that point. And she recovered and everything. You know? So, and the funny thing about this thing is, it is these same doctors that will come to this country and do everything within the parameters of the healthcare, you know? So it makes you wonder, like, it's still what I'm saying, lack of proper governing bodies. Because you go hospital up and down Nigeria, you hear cases every day on social media of people, you know, taken to hospital with very minor illnesses. Next thing, they are dead. You know, major private hospitals without oxygen.
So the other reason why, maybe the I mean, so apart from that conversation with the media person, you know, and Eric, there's a very good friend of mine, very good friend of mine, who apparently had meningitis, I think it was. And his parents in-law were professors in Ibadan. So they said, oh, you know what, come to Ibadan. You know, I happened to be at Ibadan when he passed on. And it was basically because there was no needle. I don't know what kind of needle, you know, but there was no needle. The most basic.
You go to a so-called private hospital that charge millions. They'll tell you they don't have oxygen.
You know.
How do you know? Do you know that you can actually buy? You shouldn't be able to, but you can lay your hands on oxygen in this country if you wanted to. It's insane. So it's not just a matter of being easily compromised. The bodies are not there. You can say they are there, but they're like, it's like putting a CCTV camera in your house that's not turned on. That's right. So when the crime happens and the police say, can we have access to your camera? And you'll be like, you know, I see in the movies and TV shows when they go to all these shops, and the shop owners will say, well, that's just there for, you know, it's not.
It's a deterrent.
Yeah, you know, that's how all these bodies, no proper governing bodies. So now we think about all that and we bring it back to the UK, which comes back to my question of what's the point?
Yeah, but I mean, so to answer your question, so speaking as someone who actually had a passport, you know, so I could just buy my ticket and say, you know what, let me go to this other place and see, you know, what gives. So on the other hand, there are people who've lived their entire lives in Nigeria and they've heard about this fantastic UK place, right? And that's the green grass.
No, to be fair, it used to be that back in the day. But is that old glory that people still...
But you know that because you are here.
Oh, yes, of course. That's what I'm saying. If we are talking about the issue of security, this country is not, in my opinion, as secure or as safe as it used to be. I mean, when I first relocated to this country, I used to be able to wake up 2-3 a.m. in the morning and just go for like long walks around my neighborhood and then just go back home. Like if I'm not able to sleep, I just go for walks, go back home, have a shower and then go to bed. But I don't know if you've noticed recently, I mean in the news, this is the first time for me since I've been in this country over 20 years that I'm hearing in the news about people getting shot. because guns are not a thing in the UK. But these things are beginning to find their way into the hands of these teenagers. I was reading just the other day about somebody that got shot. And, for me, that's a bit,
So, I have an opinion about, all of us moving from one place to another, for security or for a better life, or whatever. And my argument has always been, nothing is an exclusive. It's not exclusive to Nigeria.
Oh yeah,
for instance. So I give an example all the time. I lived in Lupeju the entire time that I was in Lagos. I mean, I grew up in Ibadan, but the entire time that I was in Lagos, I lived in Lupeju, and people would say that where I lived was dangerous. But then I worked in entertainment, so I got home at every hour of the night. I lived by myself in a 3-bedroom house with a compound to myself. I didn't have a gate man. So typically I'll drive up to my gate at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3, 4, whenever. I'll drive up to the gate.
Come down
from my car.
Open the gate.
Open the small gate to get in. Open the big gate. Throw the gate open. Shock the gate. Drive in. Come down.
Do all the process again.
You understand what I'm saying? And not once did I encounter any of these supposed bad guys.
To be fair, I think that is something that's relative, because when I lived,
and that's not to say that
people weren't getting it.
You understand what I'm saying? So the bottom line for me has always been, there is nowhere, because so the irony is, I came to London for the first time in 2006, and my sister lived in Canning Town, and she warned me when I was coming to see her that, well, you know what, if any child walks up to you and just do what he says, because there's every chance there's a gang and you don't want to get stabbed. And I'm thinking, I live in Ilupeju. Ilupeju is right next to Oshodi. I've passed through Oshodi at all hours of the day and night without fearing anything. So who are these Canning Town people? That. But
that's their.
But here's the thing.
That's their
So end of the day, my argument has always been, you know what? When you think it's really bad where you are, you don't know until you go to that other place.
Yep.
What's going on there? So Nigeria, for instance, and we have our issues. We have issues. We do have loads of issues. But I've never thought that Nigeria is the worst place ever.
No.
Because here's the thing: the main reason why people are living in the numbers they are living in is because people think Nigeria is the worst place ever. They think there are better places.
But
understand.
Let me just come in there. We're different people. Our stories are different. Okay.
Our experiences are different.
Yeah. For majority of these people that are living, they have reasons. I mean, I've always had my British passport. I was born here, but I chose to grow up. Like, my mom wanted me to grow up there, and I liked my time in Nigeria. I mean, there were bad times like with anyone else, but for me, I could easily say everything I've ever loved, everything that meant anything to me, Nigeria as a country took away from me in different facets. You get what I'm saying? Okay. These people that we're talking about, if you hear some of them, if you hear their stories, you will say, you know what? It's good that you left. You get? And as we are saying these things, it's just like in universities back home where people have, I could tell you stories for days about what they call gang here, cultism, deaths, all sorts of things. And there are people who pass through that same school at the same time that I was there. And have that when you say these things in front of them, they'll be like, what are you saying? So that's generally how life is. Stories are different and stuff. For some, they just feel, they've given up on the hope of a new Nigeria. I don't see it in our generation. Probably in our grandchildren's generation, I don't know, because as it is right now, anybody that gets into any no matter how small position of power in that country, their mentality and mindset is already adjusted to looting, thinking of themselves only. There's always that 1%, but you can't, for a country to move ahead, that's stuff for another day anyway. So my point initially why I asked that question, why what was that question again?
Why are people coming over here?
Yeah, what's the point? The reason why I asked that question was because all of the reasons why majority of people used to leave Africa back in the day, those reasons for me are not even there anymore. I mean, go look at all the roads, anywhere you are, all the roads all messed up.
Yeah, but again, so I think what I was trying to say earlier is it's easy for you to say that because you've been here for all of these years.
Oh yes, I no.
So for someone who's
don't get me wrong,
Lagos
I'm not telling people
there,
not to come. We're just having a conversation about what's the point now of, obviously there's still more opportunities here. That's one. It's not as if they don't do man no man here too. That's another thing our people don't know.
Man
no
is the
man
way of life.
Yeah, you get me. There's the institutionalized racism is there.
Oh.
The face-to-face direct racism
can I
is
tell
there.
you about? Okay, so I've never said this. I've never recorded this. I've told a bunch of people. So the first time I encountered like racism, like face to face, smiling in my face racism. I started a job in 2018. So after training, I'm working at Stratford, right? I'm having a conversation with a friend. So he's a friend of mine now, who is, I think he's from Iran, right? So we're talking, we're on the platform 8 at Stratford. And this old E61 man, white, is walking towards us. So, I stopped for a second and said, "Oh, you're all right?" He says, "Oh, do I not look all right?" But the entire time he's smiling, doesn't break his stride, then says, "Oh, but you look all right," right? Again, doesn't break his stride, walks all the way up to me, right? And touches my chest, then touches my upper arm, and says, "Let me see your teeth." Good. So you probably don't know. Now, I have been woke since forever.
Of course.
I have watched every movie. Like, if I'm going to watch a movie...
No. I know where you are going.
I'm just surprised.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just surprised that it happened.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. So, I mean, I've seen Roots. I've seen all these movies. I know that's how slaves were sold.
Yeah.
They'll basically play up, strong chest, strong back, biceps, and has good teeth. So I'm like, what? Like, did this guy literally just put me on?
Yeah.
And my guy is standing there and he has no idea.
Yeah, that's
because he's Asian. So it doesn't mean anything to him. But, I'm shocked for the matter of fact, I don't know how the guy left. Like, I have no idea if he got on a train or if he went to the steps or I got transfixed. I got transfixed. Like, what did that just happen to me?
Let me tell you, when I came to
you, when you live in Nigeria,
you don't
you are not black. You're just a human being.
Because everybody looks like you.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it had never happened to me before. So I was shocked.
That was your own rude
I was
awakening.
in literal shock.
So that is part of all the things that I'm saying. I mean, the education is gone to shit. No good roads, no proper healthcare. But what people now have that I could easily say we don't have back home is that most organizations, when you pay for a service, you are expected to get that service. Unlike back home, we lack proper customer service skills in even major organizations back home. I mean, you have the minority here too that still fall into that category, but I think people come here based on the opportunities. Like, if you go online now, you can job search, you can apply for 100 jobs.
I think more than anything else, to be fair, I think more than anything else is the fact that if you check your pound to naira,
I think that's
So I think more than anything else,
because you know why?
Because for every pound you make, it's almost
because you know why? If you ask an average Nigerian about to relocate and just researching, if you tell them and give them facts that if you go to Austria, it is more peaceful, less racism, good health, better healthcare, free education, blah, and then you give them the option of UK, they would rather come to UK. I think that's where the currency comes in. Like I was telling somebody that, do you know that in Finland, it's free education up to PhD levels? Free.
Oh, is that a fact?
Yes, free. I have a friend that has gone through the entire process. We both relocated at the same time.
Wow.
I came here, he went to Finland. He's now what's the proverbial big boy. Everything free. You know, is that at first?
Learn a new language.
Yes. Is that at first? Because, you know, you start from the very, very bottom. You know, those first few years is always like, you know, some people don't make it. You know, but he's stuck with it. Married, they finish, which makes life.
Don't finish.
Yeah, it made life easier for him. You know, education is free. You know, so now as soon as you finish, and then we were still in the whole European Union thing. So people were just doing that, getting that education
to come here
and just leaving and coming here to use the same qualifications as or anywhere else in Europe that seemed a bit. Yeah, so that was what people were doing then. You know, so a few of those European countries, if you give them Nigerians the option today, they will tell you it's UK. You see, because I think it's because of the currency.
I don't know. I mean, I see.
Let me tell you, I've had this discussion with many.
Wait. I just had a conversation with one of my boys who was doing very, very well in Lagos, who's now moved to Slovenia. I'm like, Slovenia? Like, how did you pick Slovenia
Of all places.
out of? You understand what I'm saying? You know, I know people in Austria.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, let's not talk about the bigger places. Your Germanys or your Italys and stuff. You know, that I know someone who was thinking about moving to Portugal. You know, so while I hear you, I mean, because end of the day, first of all, there's a language barrier.
Yeah.
You know, if you move to the UK,
Straightforward, yeah.
it's more straightforward than going somewhere where you have to learn French or you have to learn German or you have to learn Spanish. You know, but I mean, I hear you about.
So yeah, so that
councils,
question,
man.
what's the point? I think is based on an individual's, you know, story and what they hope to get from the system they are coming to. You know, and as we always say, I will still say this: I'm still seeing more and more people coming into this country without doing proper research, and they get here. It's going to be hard for you. I feel that if I'm walking into a house and I know that okay, somebody's telling me in that house there are 3 people there with cane. As soon as you go in, they are going to make a move to try to flog you. I'm going in there fully padded. You know, but if I walk in blind, I'm at the mercy of those people. So it's a different thing. You will not wake up one day and, you know, take all your family members or put them from one state in Nigeria to, you know, another state.
You know what?
Without doing proper
to
research.
to be fair to people, right? There's something my dad used to say, maybe in the 90s when we started having this conversation. He used to say, you know what? They say the UK is tough. The UK is tough, but they're not coming back home.
Yeah, because but see, that adage, I disagree with it, because if you break it down to the brass tracks, most people have sold everything.
So there's
So
no
even when they are, let me tell you, there's one reason why I don't like going to Peckham. My wife knows this. The few times we've had reason to go to Peckham, as soon as you step foot, as soon as you get out of your car and just step foot on the ground, you have 2-3 people coming to you, Nigerians, fully clothed, and the only thing they're asking for is money to eat. These are people who've been stuck here. Visa papers have run out. They know that they can go to the police or to the council or whatever to get returned home, but they will never do that. So they would rather just stay there and beg for money all day, every day. The place is littered with, I'm telling you, they are just everywhere there. You cannot move from one block to another like this. There will be always one person checking if you are Igbo, if you are Yoruba, so that they can speak the local and just explain their situation to you. And while some people will say maybe they are just using it to scam, believe me, that is the story for many. They've been stuck here, they can't walk because they don't have the adequate papers, so they are just, and they can't go back home. Because when they were coming, they sold everything. You see, no real family members to go back to. Because most of them don't want to be made fun of. They don't want to go back home and they have to start afresh again and all that stuff. So, you know, that adage that UK is this, they are not coming back. It doesn't work. When they go, I mean, why would you want to go back? You've made all these moves to uproot yourself. So do you want to now go back home, start afresh with renting? Where is the money that you're taking back? If you have that money, why won't you stay here? You know, you get what I'm saying? So most of the time, it doesn't really apply. You know, I would like us to sort of move into another topic of what happened, days ago. Legendary fella Nicolas Pukuti, the legendary what do you call him?
Why must we mention fella?
No, because you know why. Because you know why. I'll tell you why. If you hear news, there's this news recently about Bill Gates' daughter, her boyfriend. She's dating this black guy.
Okay.
And every time she posts a picture on Instagram, so people put comments that this guy is lucky, you're dating. But guess what? Why are they not saying he's just dating her? Bill Gates' name will always get attached. So that's how it is. Sometimes you the legacy you have left.
I mean, I
hear
you. But I mean,
the day I met
I will
done well.
She has done well.
Yeah, but that's the problem.
But I mean, this fella, so he's
you get
always
me.
going to be under.
Seun can win 10 Grammys today.
Yeah.
If they are going to introduce him, they won't say multiple Grammy award winner. They will say Fela Nicola. That name will always come there because of the legacy.
I guess.
That you get me. It's just like Michael Jackson's children now. They are making money for themselves. They are making millions, but you cannot see them anyways. Michael Jackson's, so that they have. So I mean, Seun Kuti, and the reason why I started with Fela Kuti is because most of our international audience that don't really know Seun like that, I've heard of Fela Kuti, and they will make the
connection.
So I think what happened was there was a video that went around on social media of him slapping a police officer. And I've heard mixed, reactions about this. And for me, my own reaction, I will still stand on it because I had a back and forth with some of my boss on Facebook. And for me, my reaction is the same. I have no pity for the officer. I will say this and I will stand by it. When I read the news and I hear that 7 police officers in such and such place, engaged in a shootout with some criminals and they died or something. For me, when you just open your window in the beginning of the day and you just say, oh, okay, clear blue skies, and you just move on. That's the way I react to those news. I have no shred, not one of sympathy or pity. Because the truth is, law enforcement in Nigeria is not fit for purpose. Obviously, when they talk about the bad apple in the barrel, the bad apple is supposed to be in the minority. It's not like that with Nigeria. Let's be honest with ourselves. Majority of these guys, of course, there are good police officers there.
Who was it? So, was it? I think it might have been Dave Chappelle that made the joke about bad apples. I said, you
get what I'm saying?
Only in the police do you hear that, talk about bad apples.
Yeah.
Right? You don't hear it in the.
Some professions cannot afford to have bad apples.
The medical doctor, bad apple.
You get what I'm saying? And the police force should be one of
the pilot, bad apple.
And what really angered me when I read that thing was the Inspector General of Police then came out immediately, within like 2 hours, and said, well, he's ordering the immediate arrest of Seun Kuti, blah blah blah, for putting his hands on a police officer and all that. And I thought, every single day on social media, people bring your attention with actual evidence, video evidence of police officers brutalizing innocent people.
I see that, and I see that, and I raise you October 2020. That's the whole point of the EndSARS movement.
You get,
because you know what? So people have actually gone crazy and reacted over Seun, slapping this fellow, and I applaud you.
No, do you even know what happened? Apparently,
I applaud
the
you.
officer hit Seun's car. He hit the car with Seun's family inside of his car, and then he did it the second time because they were in traffic, and that was what got.
That's what riled him.
Apparently, the first time he hit him, he did not react because he thought, you know what, shit happens. We're in traffic anyway. And then he looked and saw that, it's a police officer. He's going to try to do what they always do. They believe that they are a law unto themselves. Nobody can call them to order. Whether they are right or wrong, they have the right to.
Did you see the guy's face when Seun slapped him?
Yeah, it was. What? He couldn't believe it. Then he realized that when people started converging, I said, now Seun Kuti or Seun. Then I think the penny dropped that, oh shit, this is somebody I should not probably be fucking with, because I can bet anything I have on it that if that was just a regular that guy would have gone ape shit on him, despite the fact that he was the one at fault, even without being slapped at all, because that's what they do. You see, so to now try to turn the table around and say, Seun is this, Seun is that, he should be arrested. What of all of this?
So let me tell you a story, right? This must have been 2006. I went with my girlfriend at the time to Wema Bank. So I'll mention the name of the bank. I went to Wema Bank at Iyanoepaja-ish, right? So she was going to withdraw money. We got into the bank. It was a long queue. It was one of those really old banks, right? So I realized we were going to be there for a while. So I pulled out my phone and I called. I remember very well. I called OJB, rest his soul. So I was talking to OJB in the bank. Then one old man walks up to me. Of course, I wasn't paying attention to him because I couldn't have explained. I banked with GTB, right? In GTB, you can go into the bank and make your calls, even at that time, right? You know, so I didn't expect that there would be a difference in this other bank. So I'm on the phone with OJB, and this Baba walks up to me and reaches out to grab my phone. Like, my phone is here, and he reaches out to me. I'm like, why would you do that? So I took a step back, and he actually started struggling to take my phone off my hand. Now, I just bought the phone at the time. It was one of those Nokias, really nice phone. I can't remember which of the Nokias, but it was a business phone. It was expensive. And this guy is dragging my phone. Like, seriously? Now, I'm not the kind of person that will say, oh, you know what? Oh, this phone can pay your salary for So all I was interested in was
not damaging
keeping hold of my possession without getting it damaged. So eventually, I take my phone off his hands. Then he says, oh, you know, he's going to report me or whatever. So he walks out, and then he says some policemen or soldiers or whatever are calling me. I'm like, okay, no problem. So I stepped out of the building, and I followed him to the gatehouse. So they say, well, you know, maybe I'm a thief. I'm calling my gang or whatever. I'm like, seriously? Now, here's the thing with me. I don't play that shit. Like, that's not me. You can't bully me. You know, you can't. You know, so I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, do you know what happened? You are not asking me a question. You're basically telling me this is what you think happened. Like, how does that make any sense? So apparently, I guess the typical Nigerian response to uniform people is, you know, people So who is this guy actually raising up? You know, because I was really upset. Like, you can't talk to me anyhow. Do you know this guy pulls out a pistol, holds me by the throat, and points a gun in my face, and says, "Who are you?" You know, that's like right now I can take you to Kirikiri and that's the end of your life. I mean, I was still upset. Like, no, you can't do that. And he told me to write a statement. So I wrote the statement that this is what happened. Ironically, the manager of the bank now comes out. So I'm thinking, oh, you know what? Manager, common sense, maybe education, exposure. Sorry, he said he saw me fighting in the banking hall. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I lost my shit. Like, are you serious? You know, long story short is, my girlfriend came out from the bank and saw, you know, what was going on, and she started to plead.
That will make it worse. So she started to,
apparently, she knows who I am. She knows that I'm not going to beg anybody. You want to call your black man up? You have call now. You know. So she started to plead, and she gave them money. And that's how we're able to leave. Now, this is the part that actually fucks me up. I have a friend who's a lawyer. So I called him when we left the bank and said, oh, guy, this is what happened. And my lawyer friend says, Bayo, that next time, just beg them and leave.
That's the thing.
I'm like, why the fuck?
That's true.
Why the fuck did you study law?
Let me tell you.
For 5 years and go to law school?
I will explain why.
If you are going to advise me,
let me explain why.
Like,
Let me explain why to you. If that had happened here, okay? It does. I mean, look at is it Stephen Lawrence, the young black guy that was killed unlawfully by police in maybe 1990 something or something. Till today, when did they finally get it doesn't matter if it happened 20 years ago. If you have proof, of course, an investigation will be conducted. And if you look at a country where CCTV is everywhere, they will have proof and they can go off that. Because it was what I was still telling DJ Abbas this morning, that in Nigeria, what is called something due process does not exist. Why your lawyer was telling you that is because you will spend money going to court. Even the court system will support these people.
Yeah.
What proof do you have that it happened? What witnesses do you have to call? Is your word against theirs? And they will always win. I'm telling you, even right now, some of these blog sites came up with evidence. People from Anambra State in Nigeria were secretly recording police officers committing actual murders of civilians to get their cars from them. They stop you, they take your car key, they kill you, they throw you in the bush. So they have this particular mortuary that they've been using.
I know.
You heard that story.
Oh, I know.
Until this thing got to the attention of the Inspector General all the way to the top. Till now, people are still bringing proof that these people are still killing. You get me? So when that is happening and you want your lawyer, because he knows that he will be wasting his time. It happened to me. I went home one time. There was this property I was interested in, and somebody said, you have to come because they need to see your face. You need to have a sit down with your lawyer and just sign papers and do so. I said, okay, this will be a quick trip and I will make sure it's like holiday kind of. So we went, and there's something with me. One of the reasons why I left Nigeria is the traffic. I have friends who have relocated from here, who have spent 17, 18 years here and chose to relocate all the way to Nigeria. And their complaint till now, even though they both have great jobs. One works for this charity organization, I don't want to mention the name, world renowned, earns millions a month. The husband is doing very well. But they now have high blood pressure. Why? She says in a day, they both spend at least 6 hours in traffic in every single day. So what I do is when I go back, the 1-2 weeks I'm going to spend, I don't want to spend half of it in traffic. So I have somebody that drives me around. So once I'm going home, he already knows to be on standby. So he just drives me everywhere. And then when I'm coming back, just paying. It's like a kind of thing that he's known me from when I was like, So long story short, we went to my lawyer's house this morning. And when we got there, there's this woman who sells recharge cards and stuff. So we had an appointment. When I got there, it wasn't home. So I was a bit pissed off that that I'm coming. I'm supposed to come here. You ride with us. We go sort this stuff out. I go on my way. So it's good to be good sometimes. What saved me that day? This is how I'm telling you that I know my rights doesn't work in Nigeria. It will work for people like Seun Kuti. Even that, they can choose to soil him if they want to now. It was what somebody was telling me that you are talking. If that was an army, you think that it will slap army and it will go like that. That forget that it's Seun Kuti. They will fuck him up first. They can apologize later when other bigger names get involved, but they will make the army that made MKO Abiola roll in the mud. So you get. So what happened that day was, so I thought, okay, you know what? Let me call my lawyer and find out what's going on. I didn't have credit on my phone, so I went to this woman's shop right in front of his house and I bought a recharge card. And I was asking her questions because it was well known in that entire area. He does a lot of pro bono stuff too. So she was telling me that he just left like 20 minutes ago, that he will be right back. I even said that he's expecting somebody very important, that it won't be long, that he just has this emergency that he needs to attend to. So as we were talking, I bought the card and I must have left her maybe 5,000 naira change. And back then, that was, so she was so surprised that she was even telling that nobody has ever left. So I just said, don't worry, keep the change, man. So elderly woman, we were just talking. So as I was talking, I just felt somebody grab me by the, just like you, like somebody just grabbed me by the waist. And I was wearing just a t-shirt like this. So when I felt that, I thought, Jesus Christ, what's like going on? So I looked back, and it was all these, SARS people. They had packed this van. There were people in handcuffs in the van crying. And it was just saying, get in the van, get in the van. So me, and now, I always say, when you go home, forget all this in it. Show that you are son of the soil. So I was speaking in busy, guy, waiting be all this one now. I don't even live for this place safe. I just say make I come. That was all I said. It just hit me with gun in my eye. Till today, I'm still dealing with the effects in this right eye. I still go for yearly examination in this right eye because it affects me sometimes. This guy just gave me in my eye, bah. And immediately they started. 2 of them, they were coming down from the bus. They were dragging me. I was refusing to get in that bus. And as I was refusing, they were telling each other, say, shoot him for leg, shoot him in the leg, shoot him in the leg. So as I was saying that, I knew that today I'm seeing this to the end. So as I was saying that, they were cocking the guns, just shooting around me. People were gathering and stuff. As they were doing it, they were hitting me with the gun. They were saying, you are a murderer, you are a thief, you are a cultist. I just thought my driver was too scared to come down from the car. I would have preferred for him to go, because if something happened to him, it's my responsibility, you know. So as they were beating me, I was saying never. So somebody, the one that looked like the guy in charge, now came down from the van, now stopped them. Was not questioning me. So as he was questioning me, at that point, I was too
upset,
pissed off. You see, if I had a gun there, I would have committed murder. To be honest with you. So as he was questioning me, I was screaming in his face. All the documents that I had with me were on the floor in the mud. My phone was God knows where. So I was telling that I came to see my lawyer here, but so when they heard lawyer, you know, I said I just want to. So as I was saying that, the guy said, "You never read. You are not ready. Get in the van. At least get." I said, "But why would you? How you could just stop? We had no proof, no evidence, nothing." And I had a tattoo on my arm then. So he was pointing at that tattoo, saying, "See now, that's the proof I need. You are a killer. You people, you are a kidnapper. You are this that." And they started beating me again. So as they were beating me, I was on the floor. I just felt somebody lay on me, and I looked at her, and it was the woman, the recharge card seller, very elderly woman. She was just wearing wrapper, and she just, you know, stopped them from hitting me. She was not the one telling them that this brother does not even live in this, because I was already gisting her that I just came from, you know, very far to see Uncle Victor, blah blah blah. So he said he doesn't even live here. He just bought something from me just now. As we were talking, my lawyer was driving down. So when my lawyer got there, me in my head thinking, yes, today, at least he's here. He can see what's happening. We had lots of witnesses that we can call on. And when he came and they started talking and all that, so they didn't even apologize. They just say we heard that some guys were killing people in this area, blah 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 blah. So we came to make arrest, all those kind of things, you know. No apology, nothing. They left. I was not telling my lawyer that I got their names. We have to do something. This is not. I don't mind if I extend my stay, like you said. Now, let me put in perspective who my lawyer is. This guy is not just. He handles high-profile cases, like multi-million kind of. The only reason why he could take me on as a client was because he was a friend of my mom when my mom was alive. And that was just because my mom worked for Mobile Oil Producing Company, where he had handled a case in like 10 million in like the mid-90s back then. So it's well renowned. So he was doing it as a favor. I am not usually the kind of client. He doesn't handle little kidney like that. You get me? So for him to be telling me that, Aburo, say, guy, there's no need. Say, just be thankful that you're alive. That was the. I was looking at him in shock. He said, let's just leave it. That what's the point? I was. If I had a gun that time, I could have just killed people. Like that meme. That I could have killed a lot of people. But you know, that put things in perspective for me at that particular time, because I just felt it was at that point that I finally gave up hope for anything in that country. There's nothing like due process. It is whoever has whoever has the most money will win the case. No due process. Nothing like, yes, you have to arrest this person. Whoever goes to the police station first. And if you are poor and you are the one that went first, it doesn't matter. If they come and they find out I'm richer than money, you forget it. If you are not careful, you will be the one they will lock up. You know. So, you know, if you think of all those things, I can easily understand why people would rather just move abroad for like peace of mind. Because in this country, let's be honest, I've stayed here 20 years plus. I've only been stopped by police twice. And the reason why I was stopped, one of the reasons was I passed a hot spot where they do regular stop and search because of knife crime and all that stuff, which I understood. When they stopped me, they spoke to me in a respectful manner. They were not aggressive or anything. We were talking and joking, and I let them search my car. I let them search me, and they were happy. You get. And the second time, it was because I was driving a car that, the headlights wouldn't come on automatically.
Okay.
So I forgot to, I thought the headlight was on and it wasn't. I was driving in the dark.
Okay.
So they stopped me and said, why don't you have? And I said, oh shit, sorry officer. I thought I'm, driving a car. And that was it. And I'm not saying those things don't happen here, rare occurrences. But guess what happens when it happens? Every time. Just go down that rabbit hole, follow that news story. You will hear that somebody has lost their career. This. People win hundreds of thousands in compensation because there is what is called due process. So I can understand why, based on that alone, anyone would want to, leave the kind of country where everything is just shambles. No proper organization of any. I mean, I went to High Court. I shared a picture on my social media the other day, and there were stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of files. And I said, well, do you have like a cloud storage? And they didn't understand. Because guess what? The people I was talking to there, absolute illiterates. They were just looking at me like this.
No, they're not illiterates.
So what now? They didn't understand.
No, they're not illiterates. You're bourgeois.
No, not bourgeois, Baba. I was Yoruba Lajon Sose. Listen, let me tell you. Even if I go to Nigeria, I don't speak in
Internet day.
That's the thing. I don't speak Inyo. I was just telling them that do you store? I was saying that so if fire happens in Nigerian high court, I was talking about Nigerian high courts, fam. In Nigerian high courts, and I was asking the woman that funny. If a fire happens here now, what happens? She just started laughing. And guess what happened? You go there in the morning, they give you an appointment, and while you're waiting to be seen, you hear loud noise. And you're wondering, why am I not being seen? And they'll tell you they are doing morning devotion. And you will see everybody doing morning devotion.
Oh, but I saw that on.
And this is the problem.
I saw that on Twitter this last week.
See. Why?
Someone went to immigration.
It is not a lie, bro. Because guess what? It happened to me. And for me, I just thought, this is ridiculous. This is a place of, But Nigeria and religion, we know how it is. It's okay. But what blew me out of the water was, I was the first person to be seen by this particular caseworker. And after doing the devotion, she came round, looked at me, and told me how much I had to pay if I wanted my case fast-tracked. Literally, after talking to Jesus, she asked me for a bribe. So I don't understand. I don't blame anybody that would want to leave that kind of system.
I think that's giving what is Caesar's unto Caesar.
No, that is bullshit in my own book, So in this issue back to the issue of Seun Kuti, what do you think is the best? What do you think should happen? Should he be arrested, or what exactly is the way forward?
I mean, look, I think at the end of the day, Seun will be fine.
Oh, of course.
At the end of the day, that's Seun Kuti. Like I said earlier, I don't see any reason why he can't slap the policeman.
Oh yeah, because he said that the guy put his family in danger. And then he was being arrogant about it because he didn't know who he was.
At the end of the day, a man's job is to take care of his family.
Oh yes, of course.
So if someone is going to act the fool and ram your car because so it's one of the things I used to do when I was in Nigeria. I didn't care about your siren because I know you're not going anywhere in a hurry. We're all in this traffic together. So why are you blowing? And what they would do typically is they will hit you. So I suppose that's what they did as well. Now, if he has his family in the car, I honestly don't blame him for the reaction that he had. I honestly do not blame him. If you are a person of clout, who knows that at the end of the day nothing is going to happen, you do what you have to do to protect you and yours. Because unfortunately, this police who's supposed to be protecting you will not protect you.
Oh yeah, damn right.
They will not protect you, and given the first opportunity, they will throw you, anywhere just to get your last
money of your family. Yeah.
They pick up people and take them to ATM machines to withdraw money.
Yes, now under threat of this.
It's something Talib Kweli said. Something about what do I say to a dead cop's wife? Cops kill my people every day. That's life. That's the way I see it. That's life. So if for the first time you are actually feeling the same you're actually going through the same experience that we've gone through for all of these years. I mean, fella in the 70s sang songs about police beating you, army slapping you, so now a civilian
it's happening every day.
Repays the favor.
It's happening every day.
And everybody's
thousands
shouting and talking about the uniform. What uniform? What uniform? Have they actually worn this uniform with any sort of pride? Have they shown respect to the uniform? So why should Seun show respect to this same uniform that would slap you? That from Seun's own history is the military killed his grandmother. That's Seun's history.
The government killed his father, apparently, allegedly.
So why should he respect someone
any
who
of them say
apparently? And this is what I said when I saw the whole thing. I said, you know what? The video started recording after something must have happened.
Oh yes.
We don't know what happened.
No, we know because the guy that was behind him
saw everything, right?
That was what I was reading this morning.
It was easy to react to. Seun slapped that guy.
Yeah, it was that guy that was now recounting everything, that it was the third car. And he was actually the one that recorded the video we have. He was saying that he didn't know it was going to escalate to that point. That he only started recording when things became heated. And what happened was the officer guy hit Seun's car the first time.
There you go.
Seun was just warning him that, come on, what are you doing? Where do you want me to go? Yeah, there is no space anywhere. And then the guy hits the car again the second time. And that was when Seun came down from that car. And it was at that point when the officer was even
that he started recording,
still being aggressive and everything, that he then started recording, thinking, oh shit, is Seun Kuti going to get what every other Nigerian gets today? And to his surprise, Seun stood up for himself and stuff, and stood up for his family. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes. Yeah,
people are talking a lot of rubbish. It's strange. It's very strange. I don't understand why people worship their oppressors.
Quick question, because we can be on this all day. This is my favorite. We can be like, I see. Personally, I hate Nigerian law enforcement. I will say it anywhere. I don't care whatever happens to them. I don't. The 1% there that they have honor, integrity and stuff. Yes, good on them. And I know they don't have the power to effect any change, because when the majority is bad, what are you going to do? So moving on, let's talk about the Premiership quickly before we round up this episode. No, I want to hear your views on what team is your revelation of the season. What manager would you pick as the manager of the season? And do you still think there's any hope for Arsenal? 3 loaded.
I'll start with the last one. There's no hope for Arsenal, and I'm very happy about it.
Okay. How many games do they have left now? Everybody.
So when they finish the game they are playing right now, they have just two games to go.
And Man City have how many?
Man City has an extra game.
Oh God.
So I'm very, very, very happy that this has happened to Arsenal, because as you probably have Arsenal fan friends. Arsenal fan friends. Yes.
They won't let you hear what now.
You know what? So even back 5-6 years ago, when they were dead in the dirt, there's something about Arsenal fans I've never been able to understand. They are so. I used to always say, "Are you hating from outside the club? You can't even get in."
Yep.
So we are playing the Champions League. You can't make the Champions League, but you're laughing at us getting smashed by Munich or maybe Barcelona or PSG or whatever.
Yep.
What's going on? So the tables have turned. Chelsea has done very, very horribly this season.
No, we've had a very horrible season.
Right? And so I'm laughing at so my thing has always been, I think from December, you know what? I'm happy you guys are top of the table. What I want to happen, my ideal situation is 3-4 matches to the end of the season, you fall off. Yeah. So you are basically, you are
when they were leading with 8 or 9 points.
You are running the race.
They genuinely thought they had
this was it. Yeah. So you are running the race, and you can see the title.
Literally.
And you are reaching for the title, and City just goes past you. That has always been ideal for me. So I am very, very, very happy this is happening.
It gives you joy.
And it gives me, my goodness, endless joy. I think despite that, Arsenal has done very, very well.
Oh yeah, they've improved. They've improved a lot.
Very well. If Arsenal didn't do as well as they've done, I would give that title to Eddie Howe and Newcastle, because apparently.
Oh, so I don't understand. So are you saying your team of the season is Arsenal?
Oh yes.
For me, it would be Newcastle. I'm sorry, because if you look at what Eddie Howe met when he joined, I mean, yes, they got taken over by the usual money bags, but they've not really signed any big name players. You've not heard of maybe one 5-star player joining them the way City did when they took over, when the Saudis took over and they started spending all this money. And look at what he's done. It shows the kind of coach he is. For me, I was going to give him the coach of the year and the team of the year, to be honest.
Oh, you see, the problem with those conversations is next season, and I know
we're talking about
probably
this
jumping the gun. I know I'm probably jumping the gun, but next season he might then not do so well. So if we're looking at such conversations, we can absolutely throw Brighton into the
Oh yes, Brighton is Aston Villa.
Brighton lost their manager who was supposed to have put them in a very good place.
Same with Newcastle.
And so Eddie Howe joined Newcastle last year.
Yes.
Deserbi joined Deserbi joined in September.
Yes.
Because we fired Tuchel.
Yes.
So Deserbi joined and he's done some fantastic work. Yep. There's Brentford with
yes. I forgot Brentford. Yeah, I forgot his name now.
What's his first name now?
But for me,
Thomas Frank.
Yeah, but do you know why I'm giving it to Newcastle? At the end of the day, you have to look at the club that is highest on the table amongst all of those small clubs, relatively small clubs, as we will say, So, I mean, for me, it's Eddie Howe. It has to be. Arsenal doesn't even come into play because Arsenal, what you expect from them, the least you expect from Arsenal is to at least make top 4. Yes, they've injected a bit of spikes into their team.
They spent a lot of money.
Yeah, so will you compare how much they spent?
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
So I'm not even going to put Arsenal when it comes to teams that have really, had a boost. I won't put Arsenal before Brentford, to be honest with you. This season, I'm talking about this season. I won't put Arsenal before Aston Villa. I won't put Arsenal before Newcastle. I won't. Because these are relatively small clubs. They've not even spent close to nothing. And look at what they are doing. Look at how many big teams Brentford washed.
I hear you. I hear you. And I don't like Arsenal at all.
Same here.
I don't like Arsenal at all. I don't like Arsenal fans. But
I don't want peace. I want problems.
One has to be fair.
She's giving you the middle finger from there. We have an Arsenal fan in the studio.
One has to be fair. They've done very, very well. And the truth is, I don't think anybody expected them to be here, and I think that's the reason why I give them their props. I didn't expect them to give City a run for their money. And when you think about it, City has spent a lot of money.
Oh yes, they have.
So Liverpool has had a horrible season. Apparently, United has had a poor season. Chelsea has had a poor season. Tottenham, So your regular.
I don't want us to talk about Tottenham. Somebody said something yesterday that I never thought of. That look at all the goals Harry Kane has scored. To have nothing to show for it. He now said, just remove when somebody signs Harry Kane from that club.
Tottenham is dead.
Remove Harry Kane from that club and tell me they won't be 17th or 16th on the league. Yeah. So what we're going to be doing. I have an idea for next week, and we'll talk about it when we cut. So let's just round up the episode. Thank you guys for staying with us. I know it got a bit too serious this episode, but next one we'll be having some fun. And till we meet then, thank you Bayo for doing this again.
Pleasure.
Thank you to our behind the camera guys. We have an intruder here today. You put our
Arsenal fan
for Nicola. Nicola is here. She's the Arsenal fan, giving us middle finger behind the camera.
I get bottle for you.
So you guys stay safe, be kind to one another, and we'll see you again next week. Peace out.
Ciao.